Well, hello again, boys and girls. This is Mr. Curtis and Representative McLaughlin. We're going to talk about our fourth grade concept today of converting mixed numbers and improper fractions. That's our big target for today. We're also going to build mixed numbers and convert between mixed numbers and fractions that are greater than 1. So you might ask why, and that's a really great question to always ask when learning something. Well, often in algebra and in real life, fraction can be represented as improper fractions. Money, I might have $3.25, or I might also have a lot of quarters that could be represented as $3.25. I might have more than one whole pizza. I might have, I don't know, 13 slices of pizza and they're cut into fours. Toys in a set, baseball cards, etc. There are a lot of ways in which real life we use mixed numbers and improper fractions. So let's go back and review. Here's a mixed number of 2 and 3/5. You can see there's two wholes plus the extra 3/5. So the fraction is how many out of a whole do we have? 3 out of 5. So we're going to convert that through 2 and 3/5 into an improper fraction. So the first thing we do is we take the whole numbers, this 2, and we're going to multiply it by all these 5 pieces. And when we do that, we get 2 times 5 is 10. Well, we're not done. Well, these right here are 10, but what else do I have? I also have these 3 pieces. So that's why at the end, I actually add my numerator at the very end. So to convert a mixed number, we multiply and then we add the numerator. And then we place that sum over the original denominator. So 2 times 5 is 10, plus the extra 3 equals 13. And that fifth piece didn't change. They're all fifth pieces, so 13 fifths. Multiply and add. Multiply and add. Well, let's convert it the other way. Let's go from an improper fraction backwards and go back to a mixed number. So we just learned that you need to multiply and add. So what's the opposite of multiplying and adding? Well, yeah, it's divide and subtract. So now we're going to actually divide and subtract to get us from improper fractions to mixed numbers. So here we have a bunch of pieces of this orange, and you can see that they are in fifth pieces. And so we're going to start off with an improper fraction. So let's count these pieces, and then we'll write as a fraction. So first off, what is the size of each piece? Looks like they're fifths. So I'm going to go ahead and put the 5 in the denominator because each of them is the same size. Now let's count how many we have. And when we count 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, we have 11 fifth pieces, and it can look like this, 11 fifths. Well, how do we take 11 fifths and turn it back to a mixed number? Remember we said we were going to divide and subtract? Well, let's put them in groups of 5. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to see how many groups of 5. So I'm going to divide them into groups of 5. I'm going to divide them into groups of 5. There's a hole. There's another hole about almost there. Okay. And then we have one left over. So we just showed you by placing them in groups, there's one hole, two hole, and then there's one leftover piece, one leftover fifth piece. So that's 2 and a fifth. Well, how did we go from 11 fifths down to 2 and a fifth? This is really important. So would you please copy this down? When I'm done reading, would you push the pause button and you can finish up? But to convert an improper fraction to a mixed number, we must divide the fraction. The numerator goes in the box. That's the numerator. And then the denominator is the divisor. It's going to do all the work. It's going to go outside the box. So press pause and copy the sentence in your notebook so you know exactly how to do it, and we'll then do it together. Okay, so now that you've pushed pause, we're going to go ahead and do some of this work real quick here. And we have 5 divided by 21 divided by 5. Well, now we're getting back to that division that we learned a while ago back in February and January. Well, how many times can 5 go into 21 without going over? If you said 4, that's right, because 5 times 5 is too much. So 5 times 4 is 20. And then what do we do next with division? Remember we said we're going to divide and subtract? We have to figure out if we have anything left over. Well, 21 minus the 20 now gets us 1. This is really big. So now we have, when we divided 21 pieces in groups of 5, 21 pieces in groups of 5, we now have a quotient of 4. That quotient actually is your whole number. There's going to be 4 whole pieces, 4 wholes. How many leftovers? Well, a remainder really is a leftover. So your numerator is going to be a remainder. That's how many left over. There's 1. And in what pieces are we talking about? The 5. The denominator will stay the same. Interesting, huh? So 21/5 is equal to 4 and 1/5. Now, go to a new page. You'll need some space to work in your notebook. Go to a new clean page and watch this video. All right, so we're gonna have you set up your notebook paper and make sure that your holes are on the left side, and let's title it neatly 6-4B practice. And so I want you to put number 1, and we're gonna, it's gonna be modeled here so you kind of have it to look at. You can push pause and work on this at your speed, but we're gonna take 21/5 and we're going to divide it, because a fraction is nothing more than a division problem, really. So we're going to go ahead and put the numerator inside the box. That's going to be the dividend. That's going to be the one divided up. The pieces are going to be moved, 21 pieces. And we're going to divide that by the divisor. The denominator goes right in there, right? So that does all the work. So you have to know your 5 facts. Now going back to division, we had to divide 21 by 5. How many times can 5 multiply into 21 without going over? 5 times 3 is 15. 5 times 4. 4 is going to be my quotient. So that's going to go the number up top. 5 times 4. And we put that 20 right here, and then we subtract. Divide and then subtract. Our remainder is going to be the leftover pieces in the numerator. So the 4, the quotient, will actually be the whole number. 4. There's 4 whole pieces. And we're going to take the remainder, tells us how many extra floating pieces remaining left over. That's going to be the numerator. And the denominator stays the same. So 21/5 is equal to 4 and 1/5. Here are the 3 problems we would like you to work on. And would you please take a picture of it and send it in with your work to your teachers. Number 2 is 13/4. We're going to divide that. I set up the subtraction and the remainder for you. 9/2, 9 divided by 2, 26/3. Push pause. I'm going to go ahead and get to work with you in just a moment. So push pause and press play when you're ready to check your work, because we'll do it together. Okay, now that you're back, hopefully you have done all the work. Since the numerator is 13, the numerator will go in the box. It'll be the dividend. And we're going to divide it by 4. 4 can multiply into 13 3 times without going over. When 4 times 3, that product is 12. Then we subtract. and we get a numerator of 1 again. So this whole number is a 3. There's going to be 3 wholes. There's 1 left over, it's my numerator, and the denominator stays the same. So 13/4 is equal to 13 1/4. And you can multiply it. 3 times 4 is 12, plus the extra 1 is 13, so it checks out. 9/2. The 9 is going to be the dividend. It goes in the box. Number on top goes in the box. The 2 is my divisor, does all the work. And if you already kind of knew that your 2 is going to just be your denominator, great job. 2 can multiply into 9 4 times without going over. Now, if you remember that quotient there is going to be my whole number, we know there's going to be 4 wholes and something left over. But back to our division, 2 times 4 is 8. And we can subtract that, and our remainder, again, is 1. There's 1 leftover piece. 1 leftover half piece. 4 1/2. Finally, with our practice, 26/3. The number on top goes in the box. The 26 is going to be the dividend. The divisor is 3, so you have to know your math facts of 3. And so then we go, okay, well, if you knew to put your denominator just stays the same, that part's done. And now we have to figure out how many multiplied 3's can we get in 26. 3 times 7 is 21. 3 times 8 is 24. 3 times 9 is 27. Oh, that's too much, so it must be 8. 3 times 8 is 24. And that gives me a remainder of 2. The quotient is the whole number, so 8. The denominator stays the same, and the numerator, the leftover pieces, are 2. 8 2/3 is equivalent to 26/3. Okay, so moving on. If you need more practice, you can keep watching. We'll do one more example. You can watch it with me. You can match me and push pause and rewind if you need to through this part or any part. And so if you are ready to go on to the assignment in the Google Classroom, go ahead and good luck. So here we're going to go ahead and figure out how many, what this improper fraction is, and we're going to convert it to a mixed number. So the first thing is these are all in 4th pieces. So our denominator is going to be a 4 because it's cut into 4ths. So let's go ahead and see how many 4ths we can put and create a whole. So we're going to divide. So when we take an improper fraction and we divide, we're going to divide them in groups of 4. We're going to divide them in groups of 4. So that one is a whole. Are we done? It looks like we need to do some more. So this one is full. I'm going to divide them by 4 again. Divide them by 4. I'm dividing the 11 by 4 to see how many holes I got. All right, looks pretty good. Are we done? No, looks like we have a couple more. So I'm going to go ahead and put those in to see how many 4ths can fit in this last box. I used all 11. So do I have 3 holes? No, not quite. It looks like I have 2 holes and 3 4ths. So what I did was I took 11 4ths, and the number on top goes in the box. We're going to divide 11 by 4. And let's see if we get that same thing we did here. How many times can 4 multiply into 11? 4 times 3 is 12. That's too much. So it's going to be 2 holes. 4 times 2 gets me 8. 4 times 2, this is 8 4ths, isn't it? There's 8 of them, but there's still some left over. So we're going to have to subtract. And let's see, when we subtract, we should get 3. 1, 2, 3. And the denominator tells us the pieces, the size of the piece. So 11 4ths is equal to 2 And remember, the remainder is the extra numerator, and the denominator stays the same. So if you need to go back to this video and rewind, we did a couple of examples. Hopefully this makes sense to you. You may send your questions to your teachers and rewind and play as much as you need to. This is a big concept, so we hope that you do your best. Good luck and bye for now.